glance, but.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hi, friends. Welcome to the Putting You Back Together Again show. I'm Rochelle Booker, aka Coach Ro. And tonight we have a very special guest joining us. And by the way, she's no stranger to the show, and she's no stranger to me. She's my daughter, Brianna Booker.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome back, Brianna.
Thank you.
And so today is another Women's Power Hour. And in case you missed Brianna the last time, her introduction, she is a poet and an artist.
Yes. An artist, just as in writer, poetry, music, and actual like sketching, drawings, paint.
Absolutely. Yes, all the fun stuff, right? But real quickly, I want to give a heartfelt shout out to Team USA. They are doing an awesome job in the Olympics in Paris. So way to go, Team USA. You guys are doing an awesome job. They won a lot of medals, gold, silver, and bronze. So keep up the great work. Hopefully I can have one of them on my show soon.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great? I think my producer has some great connections, so we'll try to leverage that.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
He said he'll try and see what he can do. Thank you, Malcolm. So guys, today's show is going to be about a very important topic on healing. Healing is very important for everybody. So what do you guys do when you are hurt and go through the pain, right, of a relationship? I know we've talked about situationships, but we want to take a deeper dive into healing and what that looks like. We want to talk about the do's and the don'ts, right, of what you should do and what you shouldn't do. Because the vision of my show is to put you back together again. That's the brand. That's really what's in my heart. And that's what I'm passionate about doing, is helping people put their lives back together again, right? So we wanted to really focus on the aspects of pain and hurt. What do you do after the pain, right? So that's really important when you're experiencing that. So we're going to go into the do's and don'ts. But one disclaimer that I do want to give to you all is that we are not doctors. Of course, so if you guys are experiencing any type of depression or hopelessness, please seek help. Seek help. A therapist, a psychologist. So I just wanted to encourage you to do so. But this is a platform that we want to encourage you to help revive you, renew you, help transform you, and help to lift you up. But some of the tips and the advice that we're going to give you is going to be just that. And we want to help you to change your thinking process and how you respond to being hurt, to being, maybe disappointed, maybe dropped, maybe rejected, right? So that is what we want to help you to get through. And, hurt and pain, as you know, Brianna, is more than just physical. It's also emotional, right? Mental, right? All of that. So, and that's why we want to talk about this important topic, sensitive topic, to help you to live a well-balanced life and for you to sustain your mental health.
Yeah.
Right? Very important. It is. It's important. So, in doing so, we want to talk about the first part of our show about what not to do if you were betrayed or cheated on, right? What not to do, because there are some things that are very pain. So we're going to outline that for you guys, and then we're going to end it on a positive note of what you should do, right? Again, back to putting you back together again, right? So Brianna, what should people do if they are cheated on? What's the first thing that people, let me change it. What is usually the first thing that people do when they feel betrayed or they are cheated on. What's the first thing that comes to mind? First move that people typically make?
Well, I would say normally is to react.
That's right. React.
You know, and respond.
That's right. Sometimes negatively though, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, of course, you know, when you feel pain or you feel betrayed,
it's impulsive.
Yeah. You want to make that person feel how you felt.
Right. Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. And that's what I was that's exactly what a good segue to what I was about to say. You know, and you know, we talk about healing. So healing does have to be proactive, but healing are things that you do that are healthy for you, not unhealthy. So one thing that's unhealthy that we encourage you not to do, ladies, when you were cheated on or when you were hurt in a relationship, we encourage you not to seek revenge, right?
Yeah.
And that's usually the first thing that we typically want to do.
Sometimes revenge is sweet in the moment.
In the moment, because we're in our flesh, and
right.
That's right.
In your feelings.
You're in your feelings.
Yeah.
Right, right,
true.
right. And there are a couple of ways that people typically want to get revenge. Right. And one way is women want to fight the other woman. Why do women want to fight the other woman? What are women going to gain from that? Help out our audience, because we need to, ladies, pay close attention.
Well, besides a butt whooping and a headache, hey, I don't know. But, you know, like, of course, like we said, when you feel betrayed or, you know, when you feel like, when you find out something like that and everything just hits you at one time, especially as a woman, a lot of times, you know, it's just react. And you want to get back. You want to go after, I guess, the woman that, you know, you feel like, you know, the man, I guess, loved, or maybe, you know, just he was into her, you know, he got a lot of her attention and time. And I think sometimes it's just jealousy. It's not really about the other woman per se. Yeah. It's just jealousy. You know? What is it about her that made you want to cheat?
And stray away from
me. Yeah.
Right. So, ladies, I'm going to also share something with you. If a man doesn't want to be kept, there's nothing you can do to keep him. Right. I'm going to repeat that. If a man does not want to be kept, there's nothing you can do to keep him. Yeah, so your first inclination after you find out he's cheated on you is to go and whoop up on the other woman. What is that gonna solve? Yeah. What is that gonna change?
And you can't just always react in the moment.
Right.
Sometimes the moment will ruin, you know, something potentially that could be long term. Because sometimes, you know, people make mistakes. That's not to excuse any cheating. Right. But there are always other alternatives, you know, we can handle.
That's right. That's right.
The situation.
That's right. And I wanted to address this point because it happens all too often. It's so common. And the man doesn't even have to sleep with the woman. Right. But if a wife or girlfriend feels even threatened by another woman, she's ready to kick her butt, or she's cutting eyes at her, she's rolling. Ladies, the problem is not the other woman. The problem is with the man. So why are you going after trying to whoop up and beat up the other woman?
Right.
Because you can run her off and beat her up. Guess what? It might be 2 or 3 coming behind her that may get his attention. So we've got to think before we react. Right? So, I mean, we've got to have emotional intelligence. I know it's hard at the moment because we are in our feelings. And he maybe hasn't even cheated yet. But if he is thinking about it, we need to understand, why is he so enticed by other women? What's driving him away from you? Right? So that's what we need to get to is communication. That's right. Is talking to your spouse, your husband, or your man about, why is he so interested in somebody else besides you? And the other woman is not the problem, ladies. They are not the problem.
Especially if he allows it.
Especially if he allows it. And he may be pursuing her. It may not even be the woman pursuing him. Right? And I get too many eyes rolled at me people cutting their eyes at me. If their man looks at me, I can walk into a room and I can just feel the women cutting their eyes at me and rolling their eyes. For what? Because
the man is looking.
Because a man is looking at me. But men are not dead. Men are going to look because men are very visual. Right. So the problem isn't me walking to the room. Why are you hating on me? Or hate on another attractive woman who walks into the room? Right?
That's where it gets spicy.
That's where it gets spicy. Yeah. And maybe there's some women, maybe there's some insecurities with you too.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm not trying to defend the man for if he does cheat, because he can cheat emotionally too. I'm just saying, though, take a step back and really, really evaluate the situation. Right. And chances are, if he's cheated once, he's probably going to do it again.
Yeah. And I think, too, you know, it's nothing wrong with looking per se, but, you know, as long as y'all have a relationship where it's built in trust.
That's right.
I don't see why, you know, the woman should be jealous or feel threatened.
Or feel threatened. That's right, because the man's not dead, and women look at other men. I don't think there's anything wrong. I agree with you. You know, hey, we're all.
Me personally, I agree. I don't think you should feel threatened. You know, if you guys do have a relationship that's built in trust. Yeah.
That's right, and that's the key word is trust. You've got to have that's the foundation of any relationship, right? Right. So. And you may actually be pushing him into the arms of another woman if you are so insecure and you can't trust a man. And then because he looks
the
arms of a stranger, and because he looks at someone, you're all over him. I mean, who wants to be in that type of relationship?
Yeah, smothering.
Right? Smothering. You might be smothering him too. So we have to be careful too, and we have to be accountable for our actions. And I'm not blaming the woman for if a man cheats. I'm just saying, could we have done something differently or better to maybe, kind of help to prevent that?
Right. Or at least see.
Or at least
what the problem.
See what the problem is. Yeah. Before he cheats. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it is on his part to, on his end too. He has to be willing to.
He has to be willing to communicate and be honest and about what he's feeling, what he's going through.
Right.
And I've talked about this on our show before, about, the woman shouldn't take the blame if someone cheats, or the man shouldn't take the blame because women cheat too. Mm-hmm. Right. So people have to be held accountable for their behavior. So, at the same time, we have to really be honest about the situation and not stick our head in the sand and ignore what the red flags are. The problems are in the relationship. And another issue with how not to deal with pain and hurt is women typically go and will seek revenge by sleeping with another man. So they'll go and cheat after they've been cheated on.
Right.
As if that's going to make the problem better.
Yeah.
Right? How is that going to solve anything?
But that's what I mean by acting out of, emotion.
That's right. Acting out of emotion.
Acting out of anger.
Right. Out of anger, out of hurt, out of pain. Two wrongs don't make a right.
Right.
So he's cheated on you. Now you've cheated on him. Now where does that leave you?
In the middle.
In the middle. With both of you pulling your hair out, not knowing what direction to go in.
Yeah.
So an eye for an eye is never a good way to deal with the healing process, right?
Yeah.
And then how about another thing that we do to deal with healing and our hurts and pain is tearing up their stuff. Why are you going to go tear up someone's car or clothes or material things?
Their clothes.
Yeah. What's that going to solve?
Just for the moment.
Just for the moment. Yeah. Again, we're in our feelings. And but ladies, men can go and get their stuff replaced and vice versa. If a man tears up her stuff, that can be replaced.
Yeah.
But
and if their mind is already made up that they want to continue to cheat or they want to continue to do what they want to do, you just burned all their clothes and slashed their tires for no reason.
Right, exactly. And so, that can be replaced. They've got insurance, but what can't be replaced is you catching a case, and now you've got a criminal record.
Right. That's another problem.
That's a whole nother issue. If he presses charges, which he could. And you know,
You don't want to go through that.
right? You don't want to
And
go
that's
through that.
all just for a temporary, moment.
Right.
Feeling.
It's fleeting. The feelings are fleeting.
Right.
But once
It's
you
not
have
worth it.
time, it's not worth it. It's not worth it because what's important is keep your eye on the prize, and the prize is you. Yeah, exactly. So that's what we want to, make sure that we encourage. We encourage empowerment, right? So before you react in a negative way, take some time to cool off and to really think about what you want to do and how you want to handle the situation. Right. And it feels good to the flesh.
Yeah.
But
not
yeah,
to the spirit.
not in the spirit. That's how we want to do, because we want to do better and we want to rise to a higher level, right? But it is hard, to your point. It's hard when we love somebody so much and they just rip our heart out. It's like someone just took the wind out of us, knocked the wind out of us. Right. I mean, what advice would you give like to someone your age? Maybe one of your girlfriends or colleagues, who's been, betrayed and cheated on, and just, the first thing she wants to do is lash out at him. What would you encourage her to do?
Well, so is this for sure cheated on, or
For sure, not just what we think.
assuming
We got
something?
evidence.
Because we have to
Make sure you
clarify.
have evidence, ladies, before you do react to
Sometimes we just jump to conclusions. Yeah.
because of just what we suspect.
Right.
Well, but then too, sometimes, men can do some things that are suspicious, right?
Yeah.
But back to communicate, if they're
Gotta
hiding
double check.
hiding their phone,
Yeah.
keeping their phone on vibrate, got it locked all the time.
Yeah. I mean,
I could run down a list.
I would definitely ask questions too.
Yes, there's
Just
nothing
understand.
wrong with that. Exactly. Yeah.
But you don't have to just take a whole leap of, if you don't have proof or anything
Right.
like that. But
Right.
I mean, if I had a friend who is going through that situation right now, I would tell her, well, like you said too, the most important thing is you,
Mhm.
And you don't want to lose yourself in the situation.
That's right.
Just because, of your anger or, you're hurt at the time. And, we all experience hurt and betrayal.
Yeah, we do.
In different ways.
That's right.
But I think it's best to just pull back from the situation and take as much time as you need, and focus. I mean, it's easier said than done, but really focus, on yourself and just giving yourself what it is that you need,
That's right.
And you don't want to put yourself in a position either where you're too dependent on that person.
Yes.
So then it's like you really fighting because not only is this person just cheating on you or hurting you, now you're stuck in that situation.
Yeah.
So it's like,
oh, that's it. It's when you feel stuck. That's the worst place.
Yeah.
That's the worst feeling you can have.
That's another thing.
That's another thing, especially financially dependent on that person. Because then you're like, oh, and then you kind of feel like you stuck. You can't leave him because he might be the provider, right?
Yeah.
And so that's another thing is.
Yeah, just mentally and emotionally too.
That too, yeah. And that's where, and I've mentioned this several times on the show, is codependency. There's a lot of codependency going on, and that's why I want to continue to do these types of shows, because I again it's around empowerment. We don't want you to feel that you've got to be codependent on anybody, right? Whether it's emotionally, mentally, financially, right? You've got to get to a place where you can just support yourself. Encourage yourself, depend on yourself. Well, I mean, obviously depend on God first and foremost, but where you're not having to depend on another person.
Yeah, and it's always good to have that support, from your partner and things like that. But you just don't want to be put in that type of situation, especially with a toxic person.
Right, right.
I think we just have to get better with knowing that regardless of what may happen, going into this relationship,
right,
I'm gonna be okay.
That's right.
And when it's like we don't know, I think that's when it's a problem.
That's when it's a problem.
So but I would tell my friend, just focus on yourself, put yourself first, and walk away from the situation. give yourself time, but if you are willing to make it work with that person and he's willing to communicate and whatever else,
That's right.
Y'all do that, but I think it's just about honesty.
Yeah, it is honesty, integrity, and and communication.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
hey everyone, we're talking about healing after the pain. So if you have any questions, give us a call. Producer, what's the number?
The number to call in is 832-560-2885. Once again, the call-in number is 832-560-2885.
Thank you. Yeah, or you can drop your comments in the chat and we will gladly address your comments or questions in the chat as well. So again, we don't want you to do anything that's destructive. If you are going through, a toxic relationship and dealing with someone who's toxic, the main thing is getting yourself squared away and getting to a healthy place to where you can make sound, good decisions. Yeah, that's what's important here because, it's about your future, right? And so we don't want you to make impulsive decisions that's going to set you back in any type of form or fashion.
Especially if you have kids or.
Exactly. And that's a whole nother thing. And that's a good point because I was going to talk about that too. When kids are involved, you really have to take some time to breathe and decide on your next move, right? Because it can really impact the kids in a negative way. I think too, I don't know, what do you think about this? That a lot of people do want to stay in a toxic relationship because of the kids.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I agree to that. Yeah. You want to know my opinion?
Yeah. I mean, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree. I think that's that plays a huge factor in a lot of people's relationships. And like I said, I mean, honestly, I think it just comes down to honesty and communication, trust. But if you don't have that with each other, I mean, even for the kids, I don't have kids personally, so it's only so much I can speak on it, but I just don't think that is efficient, or that's really gonna work.
Right. Because it doesn't change that other person's behavior.
Yeah, and I mean at that point y'all are kind of just y'all are partners, but y'all aren't really partners.
Right. Right. It's almost like you're just, existing, but you're not living.
Yeah.
Right.
Y'all just living together.
Yeah, but you're living together, but you're not really living in a whole healthy relationship, right?
Yeah.
And another reason I think people stay in bad relationships is because of image and what people would think if they get a divorce or they get out of that relationship because they've been playing it up so well to friends and family. Oh yeah, we've been together 10, 15, 20, 25 years. We've got to stay together. Okay, we've got a comment in the chat from Southern Official.
Oops.
Yeah, radio. Kids can sense the tension. Yes, thank you, Southern Official Radio. Absolutely. Thank you for that comment. Yes, kids can definitely sense the tension, the hostility. And you know what? That's a form of abuse. Because if you're constantly arguing with each other and arguing in front of the kids, that's, that could be abusive toward the kids. And that makes the kids on edge and fearful and scary, and it impacts them psychologically.
Yeah. And too, I mean, when they go out to school and they have to interact with the world and other kids, other people, how do you think that is going to affect them?
That's right. Oh, we have another comment from Southern Official Radio. We always have to think about the family's mental health. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that. Great comment. If you want to call in, Southern Official Radio, please call into the studio as well. But another back-to-back great comment about affecting a person's mental health, the mental health of the family, which leads to instability. If you have some mental health issues with either parent, it will definitely affect you and affect the kids' mental health.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
And that's an alarm. That's a big red flag. That's a big alarm. Because then the kids become unstable. Right?
Yeah.
And
communication issues, anger issues.
That's right. Yes.
Oh, we have another.
Oh,
comment.
another Mr. Moon 2.4. Hey, ladies. Hey, Mr. Moon, how you doing? Thank you for your love. We love you.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yes, thank you for tuning in, and give us a call if you've got some questions. We want to
Yes.
hear from you. Thank you, Mr. Moon. We love it. And Mr. Moon, bring your stars with you. Moon and the stars. Yes. Yes, we love it. Keep the comments coming. We love you guys. Thank you.
Coach Rowe,
Yes.
I'd like to add and help out.
Yes, sir.
Southern Official Radio. They did not finish their comment, and they came back and finished it. On the last comment, they said we always have to think about the family's mental health. Coexisting is the word that they left off.
Yes, thank you for that. Yes, coexisting. Thank you for that, producer. Yes, we appreciate that. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, we've got to have, again, back to having a well-balanced family, a well-balanced mindset.
Yeah.
Right? Because if we're acting like fools in the household, you know, our kids are going to act like fools in school. And then you want to get mad at the kids for acting a fool in school and getting, you know, put out or written up or, you know, detention. Where do you think they're getting it from?
Yeah. And I mean, hey, we all need an outlet, some way, somehow, even kids. And a lot of times, that's their outlet. That's their outlet.
And so that hostility is building up inside these kids. And back to your point about an outlet, they're going to go to school and release all of this tension and hostility. Right. And they become aggressive. Yeah. Very aggressive and very,
a lot of boys too, like getting football. And, I mean, they be going through a lot of.
They go through a lot, like right? And so it leads to a lot of fighting. They might be fighting their sibling or fighting at school, but then the parents aren't taking a step back to do some introspection to try to understand why the kids are going through what they're going through. Well, maybe because they're looking at all the fighting going on at home with you and your spouse or your partner, right?
Right,
yeah. Oh, another comment?
No, I was just saying. I was calling the partner Ray.
Ray. Oh, the partner. Yeah, yeah. So exactly. So we have to be mindful of that. But sometimes we get so caught up in what we're dealing with and going through, we don't understand how it's impacting the kids.
Right. Yeah, and they're always watching.
Always watching.
Like that one person said, the kids are always, family in general, is affected.
Yeah.
Mental health is important.
Very important. And that throws off the whole equilibrium of the family.
Right.
With all the fighting and hostility. And the kids are not to blame. If you're cheated on or you've been hurt or betrayed in a relationship, it's not the kids' fault.
Yeah. Right?
So why penalize the kids and take it out on them? And I don't mean directly like, hitting the kids or abusing them. I mean indirectly. Yeah. We take it out on them and all the fighting going on in the household. The kids are earshot away from all the arguing and the fighting. They're down the hall, the door closed, they can still hear it.
Right. And I think, sometimes, of course, it's not always intentional. Parents can get frustrated. And just as adults, we get frustrated, sometimes we can take that out on our kids, on your kids. But I think it's just important, like you said, is to self-reflect.
It is. Yeah, we have to. Oh, Southern Official Radio, another comment. Sometimes people forget that people's perception isn't always reality. That's true. Yeah, that's true. That's right. We can think one thing, but that's not necessarily the truth. The whole truth. Yeah. Sometimes we just fit it into what we want it to be. It's not necessarily based on facts. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily reality. Yeah. Well, we're going to keep this thing rolling. We're going to take a short commercial break. But we've had some great comments, and we definitely want to hear from more of you guys. We know we've got a pretty big audience tonight, so we want to hear more from you guys, more chats. And, please call in. And we want to hear from you, your comments and questions live as well through the call-in in our studio. We're going to take a quick commercial, and we'll be right back.
In the world of law, there are no shortage of lawyers, but one that you can trust, that list is short. The law office of Evelyn Gordon is one such lawyer that you can put your trust in. Ms. Gordon has over 20 years of experience in the legal field and over 14 plus years as a practicing attorney in family, estate planning, and probate, guardianship, and appeals. Her care, compassion, and concern for her clients is unrivaled, and her team is dutifully dedicated because your family matters to them. Her litigation and trial practice experience are expansive, and with the complexities of estate planning, her level of comprehension is profound. One such client states, quote, "Perhaps the most effective attorney in the city, as my case appeared to be hopeless, but she won." Close quote. To have the law office of Evelyn Gordon on your side, please contact her office at 713-489-3397, where your family matters to them.
Well, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in this evening to this very, very important topic on healing after the pain. What you should do and what you should not do is what we're talking about. So we are on a roll. Yes. We've been talking, the first half of our show has been focused on what not to do. So we have a couple more things that will cover that, and then we're going to jump into what you should do, some things you can focus on to help put your life back together again, right? So let's keep this train moving, right? Miss Brianna Booker, our special guest in studio today with me. What do you say to the people who try to use sex to fix the problem or fix the issues that they may be having with their partner, who's, by the way, who's either betrayed them or cheated on them? What do you say when they think they should be using sex to fix that problem?
It probably only lasts for so long. Yeah. I mean, that's something, someone can get from someone else. That's not really special. It's just
it is special to that person, but
to who? Which one? The one trying to use it to keep them, or the other one?
The one trying to use it to keep them.
Oh yeah. It is to them.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, as far as that being the motive to keep that person around,
right? Yeah.
Or that's what you're doing to keep them around,
right? It's special in the
eventually.
Moment.
Yeah. A person, they'll get bored with that.
They'll get bored with that. So sex is not going to fix the problem, ladies. I mean, it can be super good and real good. You can put it on them and wear them out.
I mean, unless that is the problem, like it's a sexual problem, then yeah, that's something y'all could come together and work on. But if it's like, as far as cheating goes, and the person just wants to step outside of the relationship, I don't think that's gonna necessarily just bring the person back. But sometimes a man says, if their woman isn't, giving it to him enough, they'll step out.
They'll step out.
So sometimes I guess that does work out.
So again, back to finding out the root of the problem.
Right.
It could be intimacy. We don't know what's driving that person away.
Yeah.
But if it's intimacy, but intimacy is not just sex. Intimacy is also having a stimulating conversation and going on some dates.
Yeah.
The dating and the closeness and bonding and sharing your deepest thoughts, your innermost thoughts. So again, let's not confuse intimacy with just sex, because it's not just sex. It's way beyond sex.
Right.
Intimacy to me is more of a mental thing.
Right.
And
again, communication. Because I mean, if that's something, y'all can discuss, like, hey, I'm not in the mood. Well, hey, I want some. Okay, how can we work this out? Right. Yeah. That should be something that's able to be discussed. Not, hey, she's not giving me none, or he's not giving me none. Right. So let me go. So, but then what happens? And if you do communicate, the man is communicating to the woman, hey, you're not giving me enough. Hey, I've got a high sex drive, and I'm not being sexually fulfilled here. What does the woman do? I mean, both the couple, because then that does create some tension and friction there. I think it's just, I guess it's just where it counts. Like if you love the person enough, and you guys have other things outside of the sexual part, you guys are able to come together with. I think that should override, you know, to a certain extent. I think that should override y'all's sexual problems.
Well,
I think over time
yeah.
it possibly could get better. I don't know.
Sex is a big
It
part
is,
of the
but
equation and foundational. It's not the only thing, but you've got to have a lot of other things outside of sex, obviously.
Coach Rochelle, I have a question.
Oh, do you? Okay. Yes, sir.
This is coming from me.
From you. Okay.
This comes from the men's locker room.
Yeah, we want to hear from the men too. Yes.
Yeah, I know.
Men's locker room.
When you have a mate, whether it's the male or the female, and one of them is not an initiator in the bedroom.
Okay.
And the other mate is always going, I don't know if she wants it. I don't know if he wants it. That person never initiates, never says, I want you. I need some. What does the other mate do, in your opinion, when the other mate is not an initiator?
Wow, that's a great question. I would say that, because you're right, you don't know, what that person wants. So it does come back to communication. In all fairness, I don't think it's fair for that one person, the man in this situation, always having to initiate it. I think both people in a relationship should initiate it. Because then you're putting everything on the man, and the man can't read your mind. There's nonverbal communication. You can kind of give him signs that, oh, you're just not into it tonight. You don't want to do anything tonight. But it shouldn't always fall on the man. It also, women, we have to also take some responsibility for that. And if we're not, that type of person where we feel comfortable initiating it, maybe we can step out of the relationship, not cheating, but step out and get some counseling to help us. So why? Maybe it stems back from childhood. Was there some sort of childhood trauma that is maybe stopping us from initiating it? Maybe we're not comfortable with our own sexuality, right? We're not comfortable with experiencing, the regular basic missionary position. And the man wants to get a little freaky, or, in a good sense, not anything that's real erotic. But, the man wants the woman to let their hair down, to let our hair down and be comfortable with our own sexuality, with our own body.
Yeah, pull it, everything.
Yeah, right. And so I think the woman should initiate it as well. I don't think it should always be on the man.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be a well-balanced relationship.
We don't get me wrong. This is not men in the locker room just talking about women. This is men's locker room talk where we're talking about both of us.
Right.
Like in one situation, the man was having trouble initiating and the wife was complaining. And in the other conversation, the man in question was not an initiator. Did I say that right? The man in the first situation was not good at initiating.
Yeah, right.
And in the second conversation, the man was saying, she never says how am I supposed to know? You know? So I'm not downing women in this case.
It's both sides.
It's both sides.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It should be a well-balanced relationship. We both should initiate it.
Right. And sometimes it's not always verbal. I mean, it's other little, I guess, sexy signs. I mean, especially as women.
Yeah, women, you start taking your shirt off and your bra off. I mean, hey,
hello. And as a man, you gotta be on game. Man,
you gotta be.
You should know.
Turn the TV off, man.
She's giving you.
Now, if she's giving you signs and parading around the house with no clothes on, and you're still watching ESPN or something.
Yeah, are y'all laying in bed and she's
rubbing on you,
backs up a little bit. I mean, come on.
She's backing up on you. So there are some nonverbal cues that we both can give each other.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be a long drawn out conversation. Come on now.
Or sometimes I think you just go for it,
But then people, and I think men are sensitive just like women can be sensitive. Men don't like to be turned down and rejected either. If men are, if they got a high sex drive and they're like every night they're wanting it,
Yeah, that's true.
And then too, you got to look at the women have you guys have small kids, and the women are more the caregivers. They could just be exhausted.
Tired,
It's
yeah.
not that they are rejecting you. They just may really be exhausted,
I feel
right?
like it.
So don't always take that as a rejection, and that's why communication has to really come into play here. Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Mhm.
And you don't want to get too much in your ego or feelings and feel like,
Yeah.
oh well, I should go cheat.
I should go cheat because
she's not
she's
giving
not
it up.
right. So
Right now.
that's not what we want to do here.
Right.
It's back to communication.
Yeah.
So, but if you are taking
And
it personally, in honesty, talk to your woman about it.
Yes.
Before you make the decision to go and cheat, and then that cause a whole lot of other problems,
Right.
in the relationship.
And
right?
that's on both ends.
That's on both ends. The woman too. Another thing that we encourage you not to do is not to make threats in a relationship. Like, if you cheat on me again, I'm leaving. If you do that, you have to make sure you back it up and you stand on it, because otherwise, I know too many people who say, "Oh, if you do it again, I'm leaving." If you do it again, and then you wind up saying that 5 times, and the man has cheated on you 5 times, and why should he take you seriously? Women, I'm telling you, you will lose your credibility. Or the man will lose his credibility if he keeps saying this, and
they will test those waters.
That's right. They will test you. Yeah. And then if you don't hold up to that, if you don't stand on that, they're going to keep doing it over and over and over. So what is the what is the point in continuing to say that, and you don't stand on what you're saying? You don't follow through on what you're saying.
Yeah, you got to ask yourself that question.
That's right. So that's right.
Seriously, yeah.
Yeah. So you do, and you have to follow through with it. And I'm not saying get a divorce, but if you have to just separate for a while, if you take some time, think about your exit strategy. If you want to stay in a relationship, that's fine. But think about it, put some thought to it. But if you just keep making these empty threats, well, I'm going to leave you and I'm out of this, and then
no, you're not.
Yeah, and you're just saying that because you're angry.
Right.
But then
he knows that.
And he knows that. And then he's going to keep pushing the envelope. And if he keeps cheating and cheating, she's not going anywhere. Can you really blame him?
No.
Right? Yeah. So anything else you want to add to that?
I would just say, stand on, what it is that you say. I think, most people, especially if they already are used to cheating or being a cheater or just having their way, they will test those waters.
Right.
So if you say it, like she said, hey, you better mean it.
You better mean it.
Because, they'll probably try again. But, it's just, it comes down to what type of relationship do you want? What type of relationship do you want to be in?
Yeah. That's right.
What are you willing to put up with?
What are you willing to tolerate? That's exactly it. And back to the whole thing, why people stay in these, toxic relationships, the cheating and the betrayal, is a lot of times it goes down to the insecurity. Oh, I need someone around. Oh, I can't be by myself. Back to image. What will people think if I get a divorce, if I'm not with this man? Because to be honest, and we're on Real Talk 100, ladies, a lot of times we just want that title. We want to be married, and he might have a big job. He might make a lot of money. And so we get comfortable and complacent because we want to be that Mrs. So-and-so because, he makes a lot of money. Oh, I can buy me a Gucci bag. Oh, I can do this. Oh, I can do that.
Right.
But deep down, are you really happy? Right? You got to ask yourself, and you got to be honest with yourself.
That's true.
Okay, so we talked about a lot of things of what not to do. Right. Let's look at what we should do. Okay. One thing is definitely to get support, whether it's from trusted family or friends, because some people, if they're miserable, they like misery. Misery loves company.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. So. Yeah. So.
Been there, done that, I guess.
Yeah. So make sure you are talking to a trusted person that really is interested in your best interest, has your back and wants you to prosper and succeed and live a healthy life. Right. So make sure you're talking, whether it's a coach or a family member or friend. Yes. Right. and helped you get to a better place. Because we don't want someone to pull you down further, kick you while you're down, right?
Right.
And then research your legal rights, right? If you're married or in a common law situation, what are your legal rights if you do decide to get out of it, right? Financially, child support, spousal support, what rights do you have? If you've invested all this in a relationship, obviously you want to get something out of it if you do decide to walk away from it.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. And because we want you to be, have mental stability.
A lot of people fight over that.
Right. A lot of people fight. You don't want to, the main thing is you want an amicable separation if you do decide to walk. But, exhaust all your resources before you do decide to make that break. To make sure you're in a better place. We don't want you to be worse off than you were when you were married to that person or in that relationship, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if it's temporary, but we don't want it to be a bad situation permanently.
Right.
Yeah. So that's definitely because and back to we were talking about kids. If you have kids, we definitely want you to be mindful on how it's going to impact the kids if you decide to get out of the relationship. Yeah.
And just in general, the whole, back and forth drama.
Yeah. Because but you got to have a zero drama mindset.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are addicted to drama.
That is true.
And why is that?
Like we have our drama TV.
We have all reality shows full of drama. Everything we look at is drama, filled with drama.
That is true.
This is a drama-filled world. Yes. Yeah. And people are full of it.
That is true, yeah. Everybody be with the theatrics.
Yes. So we need a detox from this drama. Take a break from it. Yeah. So I agree. And trust your instincts and your feelings and discernment. If you decide to stay in it and he's cheated on you 5-10 times, you really need to do some soul searching and get some spiritual counseling, right? And really understand why you feel you need to keep going back to a relationship when that person has never been faithful to you from the beginning. There's something that maybe you need to deal with. I don't know, again, maybe it stems back from your childhood trauma, why you feel you need to be treated this way. Because back to the eyes on the prize, you are the prize. You are a queen. And make sure that you're wearing your crown and not let people take that away from you.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly. It may tilt, but don't let it fall.
But don't let it fall and straighten it up. And you walk with pride. Right. Walk in knowing who you are and whose you are, because you're a child of God and you don't deserve anything less than the best. And that person that you're with should help bring the best out of you. Yeah. Right? And you guys should complement each other and bring out the best out of each other. Yeah. The best versions out of each other, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So,
and if he has a problem with that, hey, just go ahead and push him to the side.
Yeah, go ahead. And to the left.
Everything he owned in the box to the left.
To the left, right?
Yeah. And like we said earlier, I mean, your mental health is, is very important. And a lot of people, I think, just get into these relationships and then we go through, this trauma and drama and, then it leads to PTSD. Like that one man was talking about, he has relationship PTSD now. On the last
that's right.
podcast we
yes.
did. Yeah, I mean, this is a real thing a lot of people go through. And then you just hop into another relationship and you haven't really dealt with that baggage.
Right. Yeah. You have to deal with that baggage, because we talked about that, being the bag lady or carrying around all those bags.
Yeah.
You gotta drop the baggage.
We ain't talking about Gucci and
we ain't talking about Gucci
Prada.
and Coach and Prada. No. We're talking about emotional baggage, mental baggage, things that are weighing you down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Heavyweight.
Right. That's a heavy weight. And you will lose, maybe not physically, but you'll lose 100, 200 pounds if you drop those bags.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe physically too, because you'll get, start exercising and get yourself in better shape, if you do release all of that, it's breathing and releasing all of that.
Sometimes it does affect us
Physically,
like emotionally,
emotionally too. Yeah, that's right.
and people become overweight.
People, because people are eating more. It's
Yeah.
that's
eating,
right.
overeating because of I think they call it like emotionally eating or something like that.
Yeah, it's stressful. Yeah.
So that's how you kind of swallow your feelings, I guess. People will eat a lot, or people will drink a lot.
Yeah, people drink a lot. That's how, because people don't have the coping skills.
Yeah.
And that's why they call them comfort foods. Because they'll go and eat comfort foods with a whole lot of calories.
Right.
But you're not really dealing with the source or the root of the problem. Again, like we were saying,
that would just cause another problem.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just snowballing into bigger problems, and then now your health is being jeopardized because you're eating more. If your weight's going up, your blood pressure could be going up, cholesterol, and all of that.
Right.
So that's not what we want to happen, because again, that's not going to sustain you or help you with mental health at all. That's right. So any more chats? Then your clothes don't fit anymore. You got to spend money on shopping, or if you don't drop the weight.
Yeah.
So it's just a snowball effect, right?
Right.
Yeah. Any more chats in the comment, or guys, or give us a call. We've got about 9-10 more minutes before we wrap up here. We want to hear from you. How have you dealt with your pain? Anything you want to share personally of maybe how you've gone through the healing process after the pain?
For me, like earlier when you asked me the question, what would I tell a friend who's going through cheating or being hurt? I could put myself in that position, of a friend. But yeah, I mean, me personally, it took me a while. I was a little younger too, of course, after going through college and stuff. But it took me a little while to build up, myself again, emotionally, and feel strong enough to want to love someone again, want to go for it again.
Right.
So, I can't say that, I did need some time. But the main thing though for me was detaching, and in every way possible. Like, I needed to completely detach from that person, from the situation, and detach from just like the thoughts, the memories that I had, continuously replaying in my mind.
That's right.
What he did or what we went through, all of that was keeping me like attached to him, basically, like soul tied.
Just like you were in a mental or spiritual prison in bondage. Yeah.
And ultimately, that's how I felt in bondage, and it was like a soul tie that I needed to break.
Yeah.
It was hard. Yeah. Especially that was like my first.
Your first love.
And,
my first love. Endless love. Endless love.
You just lost in your emotions and all that. But it was like you were saying earlier, when you say, hey, if you cheat or this and that, I'm done, you have to stand on that. Like, that was something I had to learn, because I was once that person. I did not stand on that.
Oh, you said it 5-10 times. And it did not work.
Next week.
At that point, they're like, yeah, right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
But I had to work. Yeah, I had to work on that.
You had to work on that.
Just like in future wise, for the next relationship that I wanted. I didn't want to bring that baggage, like you were saying, into the next relationship.
Right.
So yes, I had to detach. I needed to take some time. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, I think the main thing was just me taking time. I got more into my creativity as well, my artistry. I started writing a lot.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
That's good, because that's a good point. Because sometimes people lose their identity. they lose who they are in
That's a good
toxic relationships.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that you took the time to breathe and to discover who you are as a woman, to discover your talents, your gifts, and to focus on developing that, right? And had you not taken the time to step back and do some reflection, you probably wouldn't have gotten to that place, to that level, to really hone in on your creativity, to
Right.
discover those
Oh,
gifts
yeah.
and talents. Yeah.
Yeah. And I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah.
I mean, after the fact, what I
Right.
went through and experienced, because it did help me. Like you said, it helped me dive deeper into that. So
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's good.
in
And
the
that's,
end, I appreciate it.
yeah. And God takes us through, trials and tests and tribulations, to help us to grow stronger and wiser and to be better. And he doesn't waste our pain. Because also, and that's why I was asking those types of questions about what would you tell a friend? Because
Right.
when we go through these tests and trials and come out on the other side of it, God wants us to then pour into other people who are having the same experiences, right? So we don't go through tests and trials for no reason. It's intentional for us to go and to help pour into other people, help put their lives back together again, right? So don't sit on that when you go through it and you come out healed and on the other side of it. No, always go back and focus on some people who may be going through the same types of experiences that you went through to help build them up.
You never know how you may inspire them.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, that's great. And then that's the main thing too, is to focus on who you are. What is your purpose? Why did God create you? You are no accident, right? We are not an accident. We are not God's accident. We are intentional. We are God's masterpiece.
Yes.
And so he wants us to learn and grow spiritually, develop, and not just go through it, but grow through it. Right. So I think that's really important. That's really about self-discovery.
Don't
Right.
give up. Yeah.
And don't give up,
Don't
because
give up on yourself.
yeah, we're all going to go through tests, and that's part of the
Yeah.
whole healing process. Is not just saying, why God, why did I have to go through it? And that's a good question, is the why. But then also is, okay, God, how do you want me to use this to not just to help me to grow, but to help other people? I think those are the questions, legitimate questions we should be asking.
Right.
Mhm. Right. You think so? Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anything else you want to add before we wrap up here? This has been a great conversation. We've had some great comments in the chat. We didn't get any phone calls tonight. I think people are focused on the Olympics, and that's okay, because go Team USA. I think people are going to go back and watch this playback, because this has been a very, very good show, a very impactful and empowering show. And I hope that it will help to transform lives and make a difference, right? In how people heal, how people process their anger, their pain, their hurt, and how they can come out to be better and stronger.
Yeah. And I don't think it's no one's perfect, of course. But just just try to be better, try to do better, and just little things like this, coming together and having these conversations, being more honest with ourselves, when it comes to these situations.
Right.
I mean, I think it helps. It definitely helps.
It does. It helps. And don't be
It's needed.
It's needed. And don't be ashamed, because listen, you are not by yourself. So if you've been cheated on, it's okay to share that with people you trust, not just, but, people who can definitely support you, or just, and I think it helps too. I think it's therapeutic to talk about it. That's why I like to have these shows to just, and I encourage people to call in to talk about what you're going through, right? Not just, it helps other people, and it helps you too to get it off your chest and to open up about it, right? Because again, letting go of that baggage, I think a lot of times it helps to actually talk about it and communicate about it, open up about what you're going through.
And you want to be lighter.
And you want to be lighter.
Yeah.
Physically and emotionally lighter and
Yes.
mentally lighter, right?
Yes.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah. And we want that
You
for
wanna
you
float.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to sink.
You don't want to sink. That's
Yeah.
right. And back to the what not to do. We don't want you to sink to that level of where you want to be vindictive or do anything destructive. We definitely don't want you to do that,
Right.
because that's the fastest way to sink.
Yeah.
And we don't want you to sink. We want you to what? Rise.
Rise up.
Rise up.
I rise, I rise, I rise.
That's right. We want to
Yes.
elevate you.
Maya Angelou.
I'll still rise. And I encourage you to go read that poem, because I read parts of that poem on our show last week. You know, how I'll still rise. Yeah.
Yes.
So
But I think sometimes too, you know, when you hit rock bottom,
yeah, you have nowhere to
it's
go but
okay,
up.
But yeah, you go right back up.
Yeah.
So, just like I said with my experience, you know, sometimes we go through certain things.
Yeah.
You know, we may sink a little bit,
But don't stay down.
Yeah.
Get back up. Dust yourself
Learn
off.
how to swim, baby. Learn
That's
how
right.
to swim.
Dust yourself off and get back up.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you, Brianna, for all of your wonderful comments and
Yes.
your valuable insights. That does it for us, guys. Remember, if you're in or getting out of a toxic relationship, keep the main thing, and that's you. That's your mental health. That's your stability. That's your healing. And that's the way that you can really connect with yourself and better understand who you are when you allow yourself to heal.
Right.
Putting yourself back together again is important. And it's crucial to your peace of mind. Again, like we said, to your mental health and your overall stability. God loves you, and He did not intend for you to stay in unhealthy, toxic situations. Maybe temporarily, but not permanently, not on an ongoing, permanent basis, right? So it's important that you do not jeopardize your well-being, but to put yourself first and to make yourself a priority. You've got to be a priority. Even if someone else doesn't make you a priority, you make yourself a priority. And we all go through, like I said, tests and trials and tribulations, but the key word is we go through it. We don't have to stay in it. It's just temporary. So it's not meant to be for a lifetime. So that's all for us, guys. We appreciate you tuning in tonight. We love you. Be sure to love yourself and follow us and like us on social media. We love you, and we will see you next time. Thank you all again for joining us. Thank you.
What's the matter with you?